recording this computer. All right, all right. So again, thank you, and welcome everyone that is here with us today. I really appreciate that. And we are just waiting for a few more people to get on. We're gonna give about 30 more seconds, and then guys and gals, we're gonna get this ball rolling. Okay. All right. Right, so we're gonna get this thing started. Go ahead, take us away, babe.
Hey everybody. For those who don't know, my name is Tracy Jones. I'm definitely excited for you guys to be on tonight. We have a lot of good information for you. Just want to make sure that everybody is aware and up to date and making money through this pandemic. And we're all about finance and family. So the reason why I got started into this was basically because, of course, we have 3 children. That's a lot of responsibility. And we wanted to make sure that as they grow up, this type of conversation is had in our household. Because when we were growing up, it never was talked about. So it's very important as we go in this day and age to make sure that they know and that they're on a level playing field when they come into this world and grow up. So we'll just go to the next slide. As you know, as children, like I said, we never have this type of conversation. It's always like an adult conversation about money. We're taught to do well in school, go to college, get a good job, and work for a good company. And that's all well and good. If that works for you, perfect. I never want, to feel like anybody is wrong for doing that. But when you get that good job, who's telling you or teaching you about money? Who's having that conversation about what it is to do with your finances, what money moves to make, how to make your money grow for you, how to level up in this world. And, we're just thrown into the workforce and no one's having this conversation, and it's very important. So I joined this field as a life insurance agent, also getting my investment license as well, so that I can help our community, especially make sure that we know what to do with our finances when we do get that type of income, and how to save, how to make sure that, we keep that bag within our family and make sure that, our money grows. So this right here is our cash flow quadrant. 95% of people are on the left side, which is being an employee, working that 9-to-5 job. Also, having a small business, which is okay. But it's crazy to me that this side of the quadrant only gives you 5% of wealth. And I'm not okay with that. I don't want to be, I want job security. I want to make sure that I have time to spend with my family. I don't want to be in debt. I don't want to look at my bank account every day and be like, oh my gosh, where is my next paycheck coming from? So we want you to have passive income. We want to be that business owner, get that life insurance license so that you can go out in the workforce and be responsible for your own money and not let somebody else tell you where your paycheck is coming from. And we also want to make sure that we're an investor. Like my husband, he's in Forex, making sure that getting our security license and making sure that we make sure we know how our money works for us. So we'll just go next. I want to introduce my husband. We're going to talk a little bit more and keep this thing rolling and go on to the next jewel that we have for you.
Gotcha, absolutely. And I just want to continue the conversation here. As my wife was saying, 95% get left behind on money that only control 5% of the wealth. Well, what we want to transition and talk to you about is how you can become that 5% that actually impacts 95% of the wealth, okay? And that's going to be going into business ownership and investing, okay? But really, how do you win, okay? Really, how do you win a game if you don't know the rules? I don't think that's right? No one goes into a football game and not understanding how to make a touchdown or how to get a first down or how to move the ball and score, right? But guess what? I wonder who would benefit from learning this rule. I think everyone would, right? I actually believe this rule should have been taught in our schools, right? But because we were conditioned a certain way, these things weren't taught. We were taught just to be simple employees. But we want to talk about and teach you how to do it a different way. So again, what we want to do and why we're presenting ourselves is because without introducing us to your family and friends, how would they learn this rule? Okay, so we're really gonna transition into this, and I don't know of any other person I would rather know that's capable of talking about the rule of 72 or compound interest, other than Mr. Justin Pinkston, who is also an investor, trader, family man as well. So, Mr. Pinkston, are you on the line with us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Jones. I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you go ahead and take us away?
Absolutely, man. First, I just want to give it back to you and your beautiful wife for just putting this platform together, having this conversation. They said one of the most, I'm just thinking about it, man. They said one of the most talked about things is money. And another thing, since this is a family call, I can't talk about the other thing that's most commonly talked about. but money is definitely one of those things. And, money is a lot of times one of the elephants in the room. But when you talk about actually having the right information coming up in your household, that's something that obviously everybody can get behind. But if you think about the 340 million people or 340 million households around the country right now, a lot of those families are not having this conversation. Okay, and that's why the dynamics of the cash flow quadrant looks exactly like it is. Like Mrs. Jones shared, 95% of people are on the wrong side of the quadrant. Now, as a result of that, 78% of those people live paycheck to paycheck, right? 80% of those people are actually in credit card debt, right? And we're going to talk about that, right? But just kind of sticking on to the script here. If you look at this screen, it talks about compound interest. Now, compound interest, I believe it was Albert Einstein talked about the ninth wonder of the world. He said compound interest is the ninth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it, and he or she who doesn't pays it, right? And so you want to make sure that you understand what compound interest is, how it applies to you and your life and your family, and make sure that you can be on the right side of it. So when you look at the rule of 72, and I commend everybody for being on this live, especially if you're watching the recording as well. Compound interest, guys, the rule of 72 basically states that, how long it takes your money to double, right? How long it takes for your money to double. A lot of times when we look at home mortgages or auto loans and things like that, the financier or the person who, or the bank or institution that actually gives the money for the loan, their plan is different from yours, right? You may want the house, you may want the car, but they have an alternative plan in terms of how much you're going to pay for it, right? And a lot of times we don't understand until we're finished paying for it, right? That we paid for it multiple times, right? And that's because they understand the rule of 72. So if you look at this diagram here, guys, right? The 1.5%. If you look at the $10,000 at the top, right? 10,000 is flat across the board. If you look at 1.5%, 3%, 6%, and 12%, those are the different percentages, right? Now, if you look vertically, in the first column, those are the years that it will take for that money to double at that specific percentage, right? So if you look at $10,000, guys, how long would it take $10,000 to double at 1.5%? Well, that's going to take 48 years, right? 48 years. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want my money to take 48 years to double. Okay, right? I don't have that type of time, right? But if you look at, and count that same $10,000 at 3%, right? Well, it'll take not quite as long, but 24 years. Still, I still rather have my money in a much stronger product that will give me a much better interest in a short period of time. Now, 6%, guys, that's a little bit better, right? That same $10,000 will double in about 12 years. But look at that 12%, guys. Look at the last column. $10,000 will double, right, every 6 years at 12%, right? Now, this is what wealthy people understand. They understand the right investment vehicles to put their money in so that it doubles, not in 50 years, right? They also understand, not to get involved with get involved with, different things where they may have to pay an interest like that, right, over a long period of time. So that's a very, very strong concept to understand, the rule of 72 and how that relates to you and your income over the course of your life. So, one thing I would commend Travis and Tracy on is just getting this conversation started early for their family, because, those children, I guarantee you guys, they won't be behind because they have two parents that believe in this information. So real quick, guys, I do want to shift over to another piece of information that's really going to help you do better financially, is, having a life insurance license. Now, as Tracy shared, she's a licensed financial service provider, right? Guys, that's commendable. Why? Because, if you look at this profession, guys, right, over the next, over the next 10, 20 years, you have over 10,000 baby boomers every single day reaching retirement age, right? And guess what they want to do? They want to live longer, stronger, healthier lives. But you also have the middle class, which is an underserviced demographic, who really don't understand, the need for financial planning or life insurance. Okay. And so, having a life insurance license, guys, is really a hidden gem, if you will. Why? Because you don't have to go to get 4 years of education. You don't have to get a degree. All you have to do is really pass the test. Guys, I got my life insurance license. I say, I tell anybody, if I can do it, anybody can do it, right? And that's not a knock to Mrs. Jones, because I know she's much smarter than me. But I'm telling you guys, I've been in this industry for the last 5 years, and it's one of the best financial moves I've made for myself and my family. But guys, did you know that having a life insurance license and an investments license is one of America's best kept secrets to create generational wealth? And again, it's America's best kept secret. Why? Because again, it's not a part of the traditional go to school, get a good education type of model. No, even if you're a high school graduate, guys, you can apply yourself, get a license, and make money, right? You can, I heard it best put, when you're life insurance license, you have a license to write your own check, right? But in the foreign exchange industry, guys, is another market. Mr. Jones is well equipped, well familiar with that market. Foreign exchange market, guys, generates over $6.8 trillion per day, right? Is the world's most largest liquid financial market in the world, right? Literally. So you do want to make sure you educate yourself on that market as well, because it is another way where you can actually diversify and create passive income as well, right? And now the last industry, guys, we'll talk about here, which we won't go too much into, but I just want to expose you, because exposure is everything, guys. A lot of times people can make decisions to change their future based on the information they've been exposed to. So again, I got to commend Travis and Tracy for exposing this information to their family, right? And it's only to get this conversation started. But the network marketing industry, guys, over $180 billion industry annually, right? Now, it's comprised of over 10,000 companies, right? Legitimate companies, right? Companies that have CEOs and COOs and CFPs, right? All of these, that have financial structures, but it's just a little bit different than your traditional businesses. Why? Because they will pay you to market their services, right? And so that's amazing, guys. They take their millions and millions of dollars in their marketing budgets, and they pay average people like myself, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, to market their services. So there's a huge opportunity, guys, but you just have to learn how to get yourself on the other end of the quadrant. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. Jones at this point. I appreciate you allowing me to share some information with everybody tonight.
All right, man. I appreciate you as always, right? And the information, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have pen and paper and are writing this down, because this is just the beginning, okay? This is just where we start, okay? And the beauty of what we do as money coaches, as consultants, we can help you with 1 and 2, right? Allowing money to work for you, or creating a business that's working for you, getting on the right side of money, okay? Because that's simply what we've been talking about, okay? Getting on the right side of money, of business ownership, where we know 4% of the population live, or in an investor's quadrant where we know only 1% live. but those are the 5%. Again, we just went over the 3 most influential industries. The investment industry, the Forex industry being the largest financial market in the world, as well as, going into network marketing, which is, again, creates more billionaires than the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball combined, right? And those numbers are staggering if you really think about it, okay? And that's what we're here to do. But before we guys really let y'all go, I really want to leave everybody with this, because this really hit home and it's so impactful. If you never find a way to make money in your sleep, you will work until the day you die, right? And that's from Mr. Warren Buffett. And what we chose to do is say, hey, we're in industries together. We want to bring marriage and money together, right? So we brought it together with family and finance. This is a conversation that no one talks about, right? And we don't want to allow this to be a taboo conversation in our community. We want to talk about it. We are tired of seeing the GoFundMes. We're tired of seeing people down and out. We want to help our people create that generational wealth, where we can really start to build and create true ownership, okay? So without further ado, I want to know if there's any round tables. Ms. Jones, you have anything? She doesn't have anything. Mr. No. Pinkston, do you have anything before we close out?
I just want to say, again, I appreciate the opportunity to get on and speak, and just a phenomenal conversation. We need more of these conversations. So, definitely appreciate you guys for both putting this platform together.
Absolutely. Again, I appreciate you and thank you. Sam, I see you on as well. I'm not sure if you're in a place to speak, but did you have anything? I know you kind of got on a little bit late, but did you have anything, bro?
Nah, bro, I'm good, man.
I appreciate y'all for joining again. Y'all already know how we end. We want to see everybody at the top because the bottom is way too crowded, y'all. I appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all again. Again, this is going to be every Wednesday at 8 p.m., so be on the lookout for the family finance and family call. You are welcome because you are family and you are friends. Enjoy the rest of y'all evening, y'all.